Oh, hello, this is Tak Chung from Walk with Tak. My early morning walk every day helps me gain perspective as I enter the 7th decade of my life. I have come to a much greater appreciation how much I am part of nature, how much I depend on nature for my survival, and food is definitely a clear example. And creating flavor in my food helped me to recognize my connections with nature. In this video, I would like to talk to you about how to use ginger in stir-frying to flavor your dishes. And everybody knows how important flavors is because there's a saying that you love flavor first before you love your food. And by learning different flavoring strategies, it will greatly expand your dish repertoire. Once you gain some basic understanding of the type of flavors that you enjoy and how to achieve that, you will be able to cook any dishes that you will enjoy. By having many different ingredients in your flavoring toolbox, it will greatly enhance your ability to achieve the flavor that you love and enjoy. And this is the base of my flavor chasing in my fast cooking system. As the saying goes, if you love the flavor of the food that you create, you will not want anybody to cook for you. And to me, this is the most important factor in the sustainability of home cooking. And as the saying goes, if you become your own very best cook, why did you want anybody else to cook for you? Ginger belongs to a family of plants that include turmeric and cardamom. The health myth of ginger is rooted in traditional medicine. The first mention of ginger was about 2,000 years ago by the famous Chinese philosopher Confucius. He mentioned ginger in his writing that he drank teas that infused with ginger every day. Now today, ginger is commonly used in stir-frying in both Chinese cooking as well as many Asian cuisines. In Western cuisine, ginger is also used, but it is mainly in baking. In stir-fry cooking, the cook often first saute thin slices of ginger and minced garlic before adding the main food ingredients to the wok. The ginger is cut in thin slices, but I do not find that to be a very efficient way for stir-frying, and also I sometimes find it difficult to control the flavor of the ginger in the dish. Quite often I put in too much ginger. And for this reason, I have been refrained from using ginger in my stir-frying. However, my wife loves the flavor of ginger. And I find the best way actually to create a great ginger flavor in a stir-fry dish is by adding minced ginger. However, mincing ginger takes a lot of work. And of course, I can use ginger that are pre-minced, but it is never really quite the same. And recently, this all changed because I have now acquired a handheld food processor, which I review in this video. Using this handheld food processor, I can create minced ginger in a matter of seconds. And I can make enough of them so that I can store them in a jar. This will provide me a week supply of minced ginger, and I now cook almost most of my dishes with some addition of ginger. It is so efficient to make minced ginger this way, and if the handheld food processor will be used only for mincing ginger, it is all worthwhile. So in this video, I'm going to show you how I prepare minced ginger. Ginger is a root and it has a skin, and for many years I was not quite sure how to peel it. I tried to use a vegetable peeler, but it doesn't work very well. Until one day, my friend Sandy showed me using a spoon, and I was surprised how well that it works. So I will normally use a small teaspoon and simply scrape the surface of the ginger. And the skin comes off perfectly. I don't think there's a better way to do this than using a spoon. And using this method, I can peel a fairly good sized ginger in a matter of seconds. And this method mainly takes off the skin of the ginger without removing any of the flesh. And before finding this method, I find peeling gingers is a frustrating task. And often I try to use a knife to trim off the skin, but then I end up losing quite a bit of the flesh. By the time when I'm done, the ginger is about half the size when it started. And next, I cut the ginger into small chunks, about the size of a medium-sized grape. If I leave them too big, it will be difficult for the handheld food processor to go through them. I cut just enough so that it will work reasonably well in the handheld food processor because I do not want to overwhelm it. I add about 10 to maybe 15 pieces of the ginger into the handheld processor with the blade already sit in place. I think I can probably put in more, but I decided this is probably all the ginger that I will be able to use within a week, and I would like to make them fresh every single week. And next, I put the lid of the handheld processor over the container. Now there is no locking mechanism in hold down the lid. And all I have to do is press my hand over the handheld processor while I pull the string that will spin the knife assembly. I find the first few pull is a little bit hard, I think because it has to break into the ginger. And once I got started, pulling that cord is not hard at all. I was actually quite surprised by how well this handheld processor worked and how quickly it's able to mince the ginger. I pulled the cord about 10 times before I checked the progress, and then I closed the lid and pulled it for another 10 times. By then, I'm pretty satisfied the state of the ginger. I think it is minced enough for the way how I want to use them. I then transfer the minced ginger into a small jar that has pretty much an airtight lid. This jar probably can hold about maybe 8 to 10 tablespoons of minced ginger. This makes a huge difference of how I use ginger, because now I can have ginger anytime I want right at my fingertip. And using my same advanced prepping approach, I can prepare the ginger in advance so that I will be able to have them available any dish that I want to add gingers into. So how would you use ginger, and at what point do you add ginger to your dishes? This dish is a combination of different seasoning agents, starting with 1 teaspoon of minced garlic, and this is followed by 1 teaspoon of minced ginger. This is then followed by 1 teaspoon of garlic pepper. And then I use 1 teaspoon of my basic seasoning mix. And then I add 1 teaspoon of fried chili in oil sauce. I usually season my dish at the end of the cooking process. This will provide the strongest representation of the flavor of the seasoning agents. And this is particularly true for garlic and ginger. If I add them too early in the cooking process, I might not be able to taste them very well. However, if you want to blend them into the dish, then you should add them during the early stage of the cooking process. Since my wife loves ginger, and by adding the ginger later, she will be able to taste it fully. For example, my son, he does not like ginger flavor as much. So in this case, when I cook a dish for him, I want to include some flavor of the ginger. I will add it early during the cooking process. so the ginger flavor will more blend into the dish. So as you can see here, by adding the ginger during different phase of the cooking process, you can really manipulate the ginger flavor in the dish. And I'm still experimenting different ways to use ginger, and that is really the fun of cooking. And now I can mince ginger readily. I start to use ginger more and more in my dishes. I post a video every day to help people to make home cooking practical, efficient, fun, and creative using my fast cooking system. If you'd like to learn more about how my fast cooking system will help you to make home cooking as part of your daily routines, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. So keep on cooking. I will see you tomorrow.